So very good day to everybody. This is transport and logistics system TLS. Okay, so in this class we'll try to understand the origin, especially the history associated with the logistics. You might find it pretty interesting because logistics is not only about those carrier services. So earlier in the past, how the logistics services were carried on, so that we'll be discussing. Then we'll discuss about the various transportation services and how you are going with the evolution from the logistics to SCM, supply chain management. So in this entire course, we will be going on with logistics, the SCM, supply chain management, and of course the reverse logistics. Okay, so this is especially for you, my dear students and young researchers, and you can reach me at dr.christoananth@gmail.com. Correct. So before beginning the session, once again, let me thank God for giving me this opportunity to deliver this useful session to share my knowledge among my fellow national, international participants, students, and young researchers. Right. So in this class, we'll have a short intro and how you evolve with the history of logistics throughout the ages. Okay. So maybe back in 1850s. So how the logistics are carried on. Okay. So that we will be discussing in the ancient times before 1850. How the logistics has evolved through the Middle Ages and how it has distributed. So how it has come up in the mid 20th century and of course the 21st century. So that we'll be discussing. And afterwards came IT, information technology. So that came around like 1990s. Okay, so after that, how and where like the people used the means for logistics. Okay, and after 21st century and beyond. Okay, then we'll go with the evaluation of about the logistics and SCM, supply chain management. Okay, what is the process that is involved, like what are the collaborative steps that is involved, so that we'll be discussing, and of course the functions. Finally, we are going to end this class with the supply chain digitalization. Okay, which is you are going to compare with today and tomorrow. Okay, so I've got assignment one for you. Okay, so you try to complete it. Okay, as I told you, like next week, starting next week, in the second period, we will have the presentation. Okay, right. So at regular intervals, I'll be giving you some short videos to discuss the knowledge in our topics. Right. So in each of the businesses that you carry over, okay, whether you go on with parcel services or maybe transfer of goods from one place to another place, definitely logistics plays a vital role. Okay, so you can use it in commercial applications even, non-commercial applications even, government sector, military sector, and of course several sectors in and around the world. We try to use it. Okay, only for this country you cannot utilize it to the maximum extent, but in other places you can use it handy even. Okay, so you whether you take in the case of organized means, planned means, okay, the transportation of goods, even raw materials, products, definitely it is very important for the business operations. Okay, so logistics is all about planning. It's all about distribution of goods from one place to other place, or maybe materials from one point to another. Okay, so there are like different steps, like inbound logistics we discussed in the last semester, outbound logistics we discussed. Okay, so it's actually a purpose, a planned way of delivering goods by different means. You can use different means even. As I told you, like in the earlier classes, like truck mode of transportation is the best and the cheapest means even, and of course you can use railroad transportation even. So that's combined technologies. Okay, so besides transportation, we will have different processes like storage. We try to manage, and of course we try to control. Okay, so we have like different capabilities. Like normally, like we do not use one single mode, like multimodal, intermodal transportation even, and that can involve multiple delivery services. Okay, so we try to analyze each of the modes of the transportation. What are the costs that is involved? Okay, in the distribution of goods. For example, when we step out with one mode of transportation, what is the cost that is involved? Okay, and definitely you should have some agreements like TIR, Garnet, or maybe some agreements, international bilateral agreements even. So only if it allows means, then definitely we can go with the transfer in a most efficient way. Okay, so you can come up with the transfer with both commercial as well as non-commercial goods even. Okay, so this is during the ancient times. Okay, so this is where logistics were used in the military purposes, maybe like China or maybe Egypt, we had several ancient civilizations. Of course, they are known to have the ancient civilization. Definitely, for transporting of goods, they needed some adequate methods. Of course, we can say that since the ancient methods were more planned, we actually derive the concept out of it, and we try to implicate or maybe implement in the new technologies. Okay, so that was actually the basis. Okay, so actually they were looking for some solutions where they could efficiently deliver the weaponry or maybe provision supplies, especially for the wars, for conquering the armies even. Okay, so this is the strategy that has been maybe captured or maybe taken over by the ancient Greeks as well as Romans even. Okay, so that's how they use like boats, from like people like the workers used to load the goods. Okay, and they used to transfer from one way to another way. Okay, so Romans were the first, okay, to develop the modern roads. So they were able to connect, they were able to distribute goods, okay, for the to different parts of the empire, and especially if there is a war, they would use it for conquering the army. So because they know the map, the road map, okay, so that they will be using. Okay, even Hannibal manages also to enter the Italy, okay, maybe by the armies, okay, by the resources they try to allocate. So this is a more clever approach during the ancient days. Okay, also like Persian invaders also they used some calculations, okay, calculated logistics, so to move large troops across the lands where they could conquer and get the armies they intend to be. Okay, so this is like what happened with the Romans, with the Chinese, with the Egypt, okay, especially with the Persians, okay, and the Hannibals even. Okay, so this is before 1850s where there is limited form. Okay, of course there is communication. They try to communicate with their known languages, and of course they used to fight with their weaponry. Okay, so that has to be transferred from one mode to another mode. Okay, so that has been impressive even. Okay, like we had like depots and storage of local supplies even. So that was used across the routes to transfer from one place to another. Okay, we had like the 13th century Mongol cavalry. So that's a very efficient, planned, logistic system even. So that was actually divided into several corps, and maybe they used cow or maybe the cattle, okay, from one end to another end. Okay, special animals, special baggage carts where they could load and unload. Okay, so that was the ancient mode of logistics. Okay, so that's how the things actually developed. Okay, so one interesting thing is it was everything was carefully organized, okay, planned as days went on. Okay, so maybe the loading and unloading of the equipments, we try to use some special technologies. So they had, their own ways, okay, to load and unload the baggages and equipments even. So those, the carts that were used, okay, that to load and unload. So maybe they made it so light so that they can easily transport from one end to another end. Okay, and of course, uh, the growth in the size of the army. So that was also planned, that was also mobilized even. So maybe since they know the map, okay, where they can go, okay, they can take the shortcut route, okay, and they can attack even. Okay, so that was the Napoleon brought about the development of magazines or maybe storage depots even. So they had like supplies, rolling magazines also where what we are trying to utilize and enjoy right now. So the magazine concept during the Napoleon period, even they had come up, okay, they had distributed, okay, so they had the plan. So that's what I told you. Since the ancient civilization was so planned and organized, we try to grab out of it and we try to enhance it. Okay, so you cannot say we developed it. It was they who had developed it and we got out of it. Okay, so supplies also shifted from animals to soldiers. Earlier, animals were being used. Afterwards, soldiers. Of course, we have our senses. We can do it much more. Okay, so civilization also were densely distributed and resupply process became much more easier even. Okay, afterwards we had like middle age and distribution. Okay, so several routes has been enhanced, okay, still more organized even. especially with the transportation of goods, transportation of armies even. Okay, we had like storage systems like depots, okay, that is going to store supplies from the local countryside. Okay, like castles, the fortresses. Okay, we had a dual role, especially in storing, especially in shelter, and especially in the warfare even. Okay, you can protect the regional resources and population even. You can store, you can distribute goods. So that has been several advantages, multiple roles that we have. Okay. Of course, communication, as I told you, plays a vital role. We can use magazines even to communicate. Okay, so that brought into the development of the steam engines, where you know about steam engines, yes. So that has right now we have the railroad technologies, but earlier they used steam engine, they use steam, the coal even, so to run even. Okay, so that actually part the railroads and ships of the modern technology. Okay, so logistics try to further enhance, try to expand each day, day by day in everyday life. Okay, so several large trading companies even they can transport their goods much more faster, and of course the less operational cost, so that we are enjoying out of today. Okay, so by 20th century we had the Europe and of course the eastern parts of US. They had the most advanced rail system. So whether you take in the case of vehicles, motor powered vehicles, okay, or maybe communication, or maybe naval, or maybe air, everywhere both the positive and negative means, even in the times of war, or maybe for the positive means even, that has been enhanced. Okay, so during like 20th and 21st century, like we had like from 1940s, even the logistics technology, from manual labor it shifted to you cannot completely overcome or maybe override the human beings. Okay, so we had like semi manual labor technology even, and of course that has been mechanized, especially for moving goods. Okay, so we had like special warehouse space. Okay, we can use it much more efficiently. And afterwards, like 1950s, we had like rail, ship, and of course truck to be used much more easily even. Of course, like over the years we had like freight transportation. Okay, so that changed from rail technology to the truck technology, so that was considered as the cheapest ways. Okay, so like 1960s to 1970s, whatever you maintain the record, everything you write, and afterwards it became computerized over the years, and we are globally accessing it. Okay, without need to transfer, okay, from one place to another place even. Okay, and afterwards came PCs. Okay, the desktop computers, personal computers, so that actually improved the logistics planning, especially the inventory management, and of course that actually optimized the truck routing even. Okay, and of course PCs came around 1980s, and we had like internet, www. Okay, so that has evolved, that has come up with a data revolution, like 2G, 3G, 4G, and 5G even. Okay, so normally like Excel sheets or maybe spreadsheet technology has been used, especially when the computers or maybe personal I mean PCs even. Okay, we had like map based interfaces, especially to improve the planning procedures and execution process even. And especially with the truck technology, we have like large scale optimization models even, so that was inbuilt more in the commercial processes. Okay, so afterwards when it was mobilized, afterwards it became automated. The semi-automatic technology all became fully automatic. Okay, so that is how we are actually categorizing. We are planning according to the different databases, and for this purpose we use ERP. Even in the colleges, schools, institutions, organizations, we try to use this one, enterprise resource planning. Okay, especially for cases with multiple data sources, or maybe you can improve the performance and accuracy in materials and logistics planning. Okay, and afterwards came information technology, so that has greatly benefited the air technology, because when it comes to flight, okay, from one end to another end, so that you can use it especially for IT. Okay, and businesses even require the widespread usage of information technology, and this is where computer systems are processing huge amount of data. We can plan it, we can manage it, and of course we can optimize it to the maximum extent. And of course internet, we are using like several channels even, so that can understand what are the demands, okay, which demands are in much use, okay. So that has a direct relation to the productivity even, okay. And of course there will be further more future technological advancement, especially in the both the commercial as well as non-commercial goods, okay. But here in this place we don't have drones, but definitely in other places we use drones, we use energy, and of course online services are used to the maximum, okay. So the way that was actually developed, the planning, the organizing, so that has carried over, that has made the human beings more mature even to design more technologies, and of course to go on to the next step of the life. And during the 21st century, we had the globalization. So whatever we try to use, we try to globalize. So this is where you try to develop the computer technology and of course increase the internet access. Of course, like internet access right now is becoming more cheap. Okay. Still with this country, I would rather say internet is very cheap. Okay, whether you take in the case of Wi-Fi or maybe mobile things, okay, it is cheap. Okay, and that's what globalization is all about. Okay, and we come into how we try to um, involve the SCM, supply chain management process, so that you can go on with a co-relationship with the logistics and SCM, especially in the delivery of goods, services, and information even. Okay, and for this one, we are looking for globalization and to make the logistic systems much more smarter even. Okay, so one application for everything, one mobile for doing all things. So this is what everybody wants to. Okay, so that's way you can go with cyber physical system, CPS. Okay, so that's a thing in IT. So that is going to enable what are the flow of goods, and of course you can track it real time, okay, in the diverse and complicated system. So this is what everybody wants to be handy even. Okay, so you can get the information about the suppliers, about the tracking features, okay, and of course faster. You want everything fast, okay. So faster and of course more complex flow of goods, services, supplies, and information even to larger distance end-to-end users even. And that is the reason you go for even more advancements in the IT, Internet of Things, IoT, okay, automation, and of course AI and ML, artificial intelligence and machine learning. Right. So this is the second part of today's class. Okay, so that's how the logistics has evolved, and SCM, supply chain management, has come up. Okay. So during 1990s, so this logistics, this SCM was thought of as a physical distribution management. Okay, and afterwards in 1970s, actually there was no coordination. Okay, between the functions. So one come up with logistics, one came up with SCM. So it's very difficult to maintain the relationship even. Okay, so that from there, okay, we came onto a concept of ILM. So that is actually another subject that we will have, integrated logistics management. Okay, so that came around like 1980s. We were what we want as a one thing, okay, for every of the services. So everything should be related. Okay, even in our country we have like Aadhaar card, PAN card, voter ID, ration card, everything. So that has been everything been interlinked. Okay, so same way here also, like national ID card, ration card, whatever the thing, it should come up as a single application. Okay, so from which you can get the maximum usage of the supply chain management. Okay, so you can coordinate the flow of materials and information even. You can go for the procurement of raw materials to the consumption of the finished goods. Okay, so you can eliminate the problems that are associated. You can reduce the cycle time even, and of course the extra inventory that is actually required. Okay, so to in order to provide the better customer services at a much lower cost, because everywhere like we have like competitors who are offering at lower prices, and in order to match with them you have to still lower them. Okay, but you should not compromise on the quality of the services even. So that is the factor. Okay, so this is how it has shifted. From 1950s we had like logistics concept, 1970s matured logistic concept, 1970s to 1980s supply chain management, and 1980s initiation. 1990 to 95 we had like implication or maybe application in the manufacturing and service industry. And 2007 it was part of the education, and of course we come into the concept of green supply chain management. Whatever we use into everything has been made online and it has been globally accessed. So that is the green technology. Okay, so we have the shift. Okay, the share of the market completely it has evolved into share of the customer. Okay, what the customer wants to, what is the customer value, it is no longer the market trend, it is about the customer trend. Okay, you have to satisfy the customer. Okay, so that has come out with increased corporate profitability, even shareholder value, and of course the competitive advantage that we try to enjoy. Okay, so you have to meet the demands and you have to find the right customer at the right cost. So if you are able to do that in the right time, then definitely you can enjoy much of the benefit. Okay. So this is the supply chain process. We have like raw materials supply goes to the manufacturer, goes to distributor, then to the retailer, and of course finally to the consumer. So this is the process. Okay, in the supply chain management. And these are the key functions, especially with the ILM or maybe ILN, integrated logistics networks. Okay, so that is mainly dependent on the orders, customer orders. Okay, and you have to deliver the products and services correctly. Okay, to ensure good performance. So we have like demand management, inventory management, transportation, warehousing, order processing, and information management. So these are the processes or maybe the functions that are involved in the integrated logistics networks. Okay, so if you can see, even in the supply chain management, definitely logistics plays a vital role. As I told you, manufacturer will go with strategy and planning. Okay, demand and supply management, execution, and finally analysis. Okay, so like in the consumer we have like collaboration arrangement, we have like joint business plan, sales forecasting, okay, order planning, order generation, order fulfillment, exception management, and finally performance assessment. And this process is not going to stop, it will go on as a cycle for the benefit of the consumer. Okay, so in this entire process, in this entire platform, we should come up with innovation means. Okay, so even with the case of Amazon or any of the services, okay, they are completely evolving on and on over the years. So only if you try to develop, then definitely people will come to you. Okay, so the task is to find the structures and of course the approaches even with better performance and of course less cost even. Okay, so you can say that SCM, supply chain management, it's actually a cross function criteria where you try to manage the movement of raw materials, especially into the organization. We have this internal processing, okay, that you are going to convert the materials, especially into finished goods, and you are going to move the finished goods out of the organization, especially to the end customer. So these entire process should go smoothly, okay, without any problem. So this is the chronological evolution of the logistics and supply chain concepts. Okay, like 1950s we had the transportation era, 1960s we had physical distribution, 1970s we had physical supply, deregulation, and of course logistics. 1980s we had like transportation deregulation, physical distribution, and of course business logistics that came on to. 1990s it was much more prevalent, business logistics, and 2000 we had logistics and supply chain management. So both is very much essential. Okay. So everything, the functions that we are trying to outsource, we are going into performance, better performance, and cost efficiency also. Okay, so you have to satisfy the customer demand, and of course, if you go with less control and of course more supply chain partners, then definitely we can come out with several innovative supply chain management concepts. So these are the decision areas, especially in the supply chain management. Okay, we will try to improvise the inventory visibility and of course the speed, the velocity of the inventory movement. Okay, so there are four decision areas. One is location, the place, production, inventory, and of course transportation or maybe distribution. So these are the places where you can decide upon. Okay, where you can measure apply the supply chain management. Right, so this is the final thing. Okay, supply chain digitalization today versus tomorrow. Okay, today we had like manual data gathering across the systems or maybe roles. Even in some places we had the manual means, maybe tomorrow even more real time connections would be mobilized. Okay, now we have like manual collaboration. Of course, in the future we try to digitize the collaboration, especially after COVID. We will have this one and scenarios even. Okay, so we have like manual what if scenario. In the future there will be automatic simulation. Who knows, chat gpt will also come out with the even more mobilizing the logistic services even. Who knows. Okay, and of course the cadence based planning and decision making is what we enjoy today. Maybe we will have a continuous event driven planning and decision making process. Okay, so chat gpt is one alarming thing that everybody is talking about. Maybe that might replace the workforce of the the human beings. Everybody had some statistics even. Maybe who knows, we will come up with these ideas. So finally, this one, evolution of logistics and supply chain management. So like we had like demand forecasting, purchasing, requirements planning, production planning, manufacturing inventory, warehousing, materials handling, packaging, inventory, distribution planning, order processing, transportation, and customer service. And it shifted to major areas, materials management and physical distribution, taking care of this one. In 1990s we had logistics. 2000 we had supply chain management. So logistics we had like it, marketing, strategy planning. In supply chain management we try to take out all the process. And in 2010 we had a global relationship. Okay, so supply chain digitalization with the case of artificial intelligence, cloud technology, and blockchain technology. Of course we had like big data. Okay, and change management, and of course digital competence. So everything has been digitalized, everything has been mobilized, everything has been collaborated and integrated. So that is what we are enjoying today. Assignment number one: how technology will change the future of SCM in Uzbekistan.